So 40K, 8th edition, Space Marines, Razorback Tactics. It's really interesting. What's old is new again. There was a time, so what are we talking about? 5th edition? I think it was the Space Wolf Codex. You vets of the Long War will be able to correct this for me. The Long Fangs in the group. They released the Ward Space Wolf Codex, so right away Space Wolves are the new OP and they become super powerful. But this was the first time we saw out of a Forge World release. And at the time, Forge World was not mainstream. We saw, is it the Slayer variant? The Razorback that had the Las Plaz. So you had a way to, for a really, really low amount of points at the time, because Razorbacks were vastly undercosted, leverage a las cannon, which is good against everything, and double tap on a plasma gun that would not get hot because it's mounted on a vehicle as a way to dish out some more shots. It doesn't seem like a lot, right? Potentially 3 shots. But Space Marines, you were going to hit, you were definitely going to wound, and you were going to deny armor saves, so at the most they could take a cover save on that. You max that out, 6 to 12 Razorbacks, all of a sudden, that's a lot of dice. And we're not even talking about putting dual Stormbolters on each Razorback for a little bit of more DACA. That alone was a lot of dice. And the dudes, the Grey Hunters, inside. It was a pretty fearsome sight. And as these armies rolled out in 5th, I remember seeing them thinking, that doesn't seem to be much. It's armor value 11. It's just a Razorback. But they had tremendous bite. Now what we're seeing in 8th, with the boost in the assault cannon, with the volume of dice that it can generate, or even the heavy bolters on here, the twin linked, massive boost on that, and essentially just spamming out lots of Razorbacks and roll lots of dice, lots of DACA on that. I feel the conversion from hull points to wounds has been fantastic for vehicles on there. It's given a boost to light vehicles like the Razorback. And then the dudes inside, they are protected on that. And they can get out and give a little bit of a double tap or a bolt pistol, depending on their configuration on there. So from a Marine perspective, this is why generally I would say you want to buy the Razorback kit, and because you can dual convert into both Razorback and Rhino. But it's potent. You're really seeing this. So from that perspective, how the heck are we supposed to deal with this as players? Is this really showing up in your meta, or is this really showing up with the thoughts on the strength of it? That's what I'd like to see. That's what I'm looking at. And again, this might change, but I suspect Space Marines at this point are pretty locked down. Kind of what you see is what you get. We'll get a couple of new books. We'll get a couple of variants on things, but Marines are locked. And I think if you were starting Marines and wanted to go the Razorback spam route, you could do a lot worse. And I think that combined with some other high volume shots, some vehicles, maybe like a Predator, or not even to mention just in general the rules of the vehicles where they can shoot from anywhere. Facings, one tread is showing you can shoot from there. That gave vehicles a boost. So I'm feeling like the winners of this edition so far, in a very, very stealth way. Well, obviously Hero Hammer and I played against a list, and I knew I was in trouble going in. I got super stomped with my Harlequins, to be expected. It was Magnus and just a bunch of bodyguards and Mortarion. That was an unforgivable slip, especially being a Death Guard enthusiast. Seeing 2 Primarchs on the table, I'm like, what is this, a Forge World Apocalypse game? Is this the game I played in 2008 BullsCon, where we're fighting Angron and things like that? Like, no, this is mainstream 40K right now. And they just wrecked me on there. So outside of a couple of really, really focused hyper builds like that, I feel like, I don't know, Razorbacks put out a lot. They put out a lot of pain. They put out a lot of heat on there. Your thoughts, your feedback, your comments. If you were going to build the backbone of a Space Marine kind of mobility, max mobility, light vehicle, I guess the closest equivalent, because it's not even like hull points wounds versus hull points, when they existed, made a clear distinction between vehicles and infantry. Now everything in the mathematical math hammer equation has been reduced to wounds. So we're kind of churning through all that. But I feel like if you wanted to build kind of a mobile cavalry type army, Razorbacks and Landspeeders. Landspeeders still got some bite. I mean, they were always strong lists. Now they might make me a little afraid. Playing around with the theory hammer here. In the comments, we'll pick this up. We'll meta it. We'll talk about it. From your perspective, what are you seeing and what are you thinking about Razorbacks?